Think you know your nickels? Think again. Today, we're revealing the top 7 Jefferson nickels that have sold for insane amounts of money. $15,000, $40,000. You won't believe the numbers. Stick around to the end, because what you're about to see will make you check your change more than ever before. Let's get into it, you're going to be shocked. Let's kick things off with the 1960 no mint mark nickel. This coin is a true gem in the world of numismatics and can fetch up to $15,000 if it's in perfect condition. So, what makes this particular nickel so special? Well, it all comes down to something you might not even notice at first, the mint mark. Most US coins feature a mint mark, that tiny letter that tells you where the coin was made. The mint mark can be found on many coins, like the D for Denver or the S for San Francisco. But in 1960, something unusual happened. Some of the nickels that were struck that year didn't have a mint mark at all. Now, you might be wondering, how big of a deal is that? Well, this missing mint mark wasn't just a random oversight. It was actually the result of a bit of chaos at the US Mint at the time. You see, the minting process in the 1960s wasn't as refined as it is today. Different mints were experimenting with various production methods, and during one of these phases, the mint mark was accidentally left off the die. This happened at the Philadelphia Mint, which usually doesn't put a mint mark on its coins, but it wasn't supposed to happen this way. Because of this minting error, a limited number of 1,960 nickels were produced without the usual mint mark. As you can imagine, this mistake immediately made these coins stand out to collectors. Not only was the year 1960 a standard year for the nickel, but the absence of the mint mark made it rare. And rare coins? Well, they're often extremely valuable. Now, it's important to mention that not all 1960 nickels are worth big money. The key here is finding a coin that's in excellent condition. Coins that are in uncirculated or mint state condition, with sharp, clear details, can go for a much higher price. And the 1960 no mint mark nickel is one of those coins that's really sought after when it's in perfect shape. If you find one that's been well preserved, it could easily fetch that $15,000 price tag or even more if it's graded highly by a professional service. But don't just throw any old 1960 nickel into your change jar. You've got to be on the lookout for that missing mint mark, because, for collectors, that tiny detail can make all the difference. And here's another important factor, these no mint mark versions aren't just about the absence of a letter. They represent an error in production, and error coins tend to be far rarer than normal mint-produced coins. So, next time you're going through your loose change, keep your eyes peeled for a 1960 no mint mark nickel. If you find one, it could be worth much more than just a few cents, it could be your ticket to a small fortune. Let's talk about the 1968 D. Jefferson nickel, a coin that's not only rare but could potentially sell for up to $18,000. Now, what makes this nickel so valuable? Well, it all ties back to a bit of a minting error that makes these coins incredibly special. In 1968, the US Mint was going through a period of change, transitioning from older coinage designs to newer, more modern ones. This was a time of shifting minting practices, and things weren't running as smoothly as they might have hoped. As a result, 1968 nickels ended up being struck with an unusual flaw, doubling on the reverse side of the coin. Now, this wasn't just a slight doubling. It's more like the coin got hit twice in the same spot during the minting process, which caused the details on the back of the coin to appear doubled. It's a mistake that makes the coin look a little bit like it has two distinct sets of markings. And that doubling? It's what makes this coin so rare and valuable. This double die error is one of the reasons why these 1968 D. Jefferson nickels can fetch such a high price. But how do you spot a 1968 D nickel with the doubling error? The key is paying attention to the details on the reverse of the coin, particularly around the words E pluribus unum and the Monticello building. If you notice that these details are doubled, you've got yourself a rare version of the 1968 D nickel. The error is subtle but distinct once you know what to look for. And here's another thing, the D mint mark on the coin indicates that it was minted at the Denver Mint, which adds to its appeal for collectors. Coins with this mint mark tend to be a little rarer than those made at other mints, and when you add the doubling error into the mix, it makes this coin even more desirable. Collectors love these kinds of minting errors because they show just how unpredictable the coin production process can be. When a mistake like this happens, it means there are only a small number of these coins in circulation, making them incredibly valuable to those who are looking to complete their collections. Finding one of these double-struck 1968 D. Jefferson nickels in good condition isn't easy. The coin's age, the wear and tear from circulation, and the fact that these errors are already pretty rare to begin with all play a part in making them hard to come by. But if you do manage to find one, whether it's in your spare change, a box of old coins, or even a coin collection you inherited, you could be holding onto something worth a pretty penny. To sum it up, the 1968 D. Jefferson nickel with a double die error is a must-have for collectors, and if you happen to find one in great condition, you could be looking at a coin worth up to $18,000. It's one of those coins where the rarity and the historical significance of the error make it an absolute gem for any serious numismatist. So always keep an eye out when you're hunting for coins. You never know when you might find a rare treasure like this. Next, let's talk about the 1974 no mint mark nickel, a coin that could be worth up to $17,500 if you happen to find one in pristine condition. Now, you might be wondering, what makes this particular nickel so valuable? It all comes down to something seemingly small but incredibly important, the mint mark. In most years, nickels are produced with a mint mark, that little letter that tells you where the coin was struck. The D mint mark indicates it was produced at the Denver Mint, while an S shows it came from San Francisco. But in 1974, something went wrong. While most of the nickels from that year had a mint mark, a small batch of them were accidentally struck without one. At first glance, that might not sound like a huge deal. After all, it's just a missing letter, right? But in the world of rare coins, that missing mint mark is a huge deal. It's like a treasure hunt for collectors. The fact that this small but important detail was overlooked in production is exactly what makes these coins so rare and valuable. The 1974 no mint mark nickel was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which typically doesn't use a mint mark for coins produced there. However, during this particular minting year, the mint mark was supposed to be included but was left off due to an error in the production process. This means only a limited number of these coins were made, making them highly sought after by collectors today. Of course, finding a rare coin is only part of the equation. The condition of the coin plays a major role in its value. A 1974 no mint mark nickel that is in uncirculated or near perfect condition is much more valuable than one that's been worn down by years of circulation. Coins that have been kept in mint condition, meaning they have sharp, clean details, no noticeable scratches, and little to no signs of wear, are much more likely to fetch the high prices that these rarities command. The difference between an average 1974 nickel and one without a mint mark can be significant. Imagine finding a coin that's worth just a few cents on its own and realizing you've got something that could be worth tens of thousands of dollars. That's what makes this particular coin so exciting for collectors. It's like finding a hidden gem. And just like with other rare coins, the demand for the 1974 no mint mark nickel has only increased over time. As collectors continue to search for elusive coins to complete their collections, the value of these error coins continues to rise. That's why, if you ever come across a 1974 nickel with no mint mark, it's definitely worth taking a second look. So, while the missing mint mark might seem like a tiny detail, it's a big deal in the world of coin collecting. If you're lucky enough to find one of these no mint mark nickels in uncirculated condition, you could be holding on to a coin worth $17,500 or more. Keep your eyes peeled, because finding one of these rare treasures could be a game changer for any collector. Now, let's talk about a true jaw-dropper in the world of rare coins, the 1965 no mint mark Jefferson nickel. This coin is worth a whopping $40,000, and it's all due to a very unique minting error that makes it incredibly valuable. But before we dive into the error itself, let's take a look at what was going on in 1965. 1965 was a significant year for the US Mint, as it marked a time of major changes in coinage. The Mint was in the middle of a drastic redesign of US coins, which was part of a shift toward more modern and cost-effective production methods. The country was also facing a shortage of silver, and this led to changes in the metal composition of many coins, including the dime and quarter. Because of this, the mint was trying to streamline production, which resulted in some unique errors along the way. The 1965 no-mint mark nickel is one of those errors. You see, typically, US coins have a mint mark, like D for Denver or S for San Francisco, that tells you where the coin was made. But during this year, a small batch of nickels was produced without a mint mark at all. While it may sound like a minor oversight, the missing mint mark on a 1965 nickel makes it incredibly rare. The problem is that only a few of these no mint marker nickels were made, and the ones that were produced weren't widely circulated, which means finding one today is a huge challenge. What makes the 1965 no mint mark Jefferson nickel so valuable is that it was part of this very limited production during a transitional period for US coinage. The mint's redesign of coins was already causing a stir, and these nickels were produced during a time when certain processes weren't fully refined yet. The lack of a mint mark means there are fewer of these coins in existence, and since they weren't distributed widely, they've become extremely hard to find. And the value? Well, in pristine, uncirculated condition, a 1965 no mint mark nickel can easily fetch $40,000. This is one of the highest values for any Jefferson nickel, making it a true treasure for collectors. The rarity of these coins combined with their historical significance during a period of change for US coinage is what drives up the price. Now, sure, if you're lucky enough to stumble upon one of these nickels, you found something pretty extraordinary. But like with most rare coins, the condition is key. The 1965 no mint mark nickel needs to be in excellent shape, no heavy scratches, no signs of wear for it to reach its maximum value. So if you do happen to find one that's been kept in pristine condition, you could be looking at a serious payday. The 1965 no mint mark nickel is definitely one of the rarest and most valuable Jefferson nickels in existence. If you're a collector, this is definitely a coin you'll want to keep an eye out for, as it represents one of the highest value points in the world of Jefferson nickels. Let's take a step back in time to 1953 and look at the 1953 AD Jefferson nickel. This one's a bit different from the others we've talked about, and it can fetch up to $24,000 if it's in the right condition. So, why is this coin so valuable? The key lies in a rare die error that happened during its production. This nickel was minted at the Denver Mint, where most of the 1953 nickels were struck. However, some of them were affected by a unique die error that caused them to have a slightly off-center strike. In simple terms, this means the coin didn't get perfectly aligned when it was struck, making the details on the coin more pronounced. If you look closely at these error coins, you'll notice that the designs, like Jefferson's profile and the word Liberty, are shifted and look more bold than usual. But here's where it gets even more interesting. This wasn't just a minor misalignment. Some of these coins have what's called a double die error. In this case, the doubling effect caused the details to appear thicker or blurred, making them stand out more than they would on a regular, well-struck coin. These errors are highly sought after by collectors because they're not something you see very often. The 1953 AD Jefferson nickel with this die error is extremely rare because only a small batch of these coins were produced with the mistake. It's this combination of rarity and the unique nature of the error that makes the coin so valuable today. Collectors are always on the lookout for error coins like this because they represent a piece of history, a moment when something went wrong during production but resulted in a coin that's now highly collectible. Now, condition plays a huge role in determining how much a 1953 AD Jefferson nickel can sell for. A coin with a double die error or off-center strike that's in excellent, uncirculated condition can easily reach up to $24,000. But if the coin has been heavily circulated and the details are worn down, the value will obviously be much lower. The sharpness of the details, especially the double parts, is what makes the coin so desirable in the eyes of collectors. Finding one of these double die nickels is not an easy feat. The 1953 AD Jefferson nickel with this error is rare enough as it is, but finding one that's in great condition is even more challenging. And if you do manage to get your hands on one, you're looking at a coin that's incredibly valuable. This error is a great example of how a small, seemingly insignificant mistake during the minting process can lead to a coin that's worth a small fortune. For collectors, it's like finding a needle in a haystack, and that's exactly what makes the 1953 AD Jefferson nickel with a double die error so special. Next up, we've got the 1975 D mint mark Jefferson nickel, which could be worth around $11,000 if it's in the right condition. Now, you might be asking, what makes these particular nickels so valuable? Well, it all comes down to a minting error that occurred during production. The error stems from a misalignment during the minting process. Some of the 1975's D. Jefferson nickels were struck with a die that wasn't perfectly aligned. This misalignment caused the coin to be struck in such a way that it resulted in a much sharper, more pronounced image than you'd typically see on a regular nickel. If you look closely at these coins, you'll notice that the details on the front, with Jefferson's portrait, the year, and the inscriptions, are much crisper than usual. The images appear more raised and defined, which gives the coin a unique, almost bold look compared to the typical strike. What makes this error especially interesting is that it's not something you see on every 1975 D nickel. Only a small number of coins were struck with this misaligned die, which makes them quite rare. In the world of coin collecting, error coins like this are highly sought after, and the misalignment gives these nickels a distinct appearance that collectors love. The mint mark D indicates that this coin was produced at the Denver Mint, so when you see that on a 1975 nickel, you know it came from there. But what makes this particular coin so desirable is that die misalignment, which isn't a common mistake in the minting process. It's an error that adds a unique characteristic to the coin, and because of its rarity, these nickels can sell for as much as $11,000 in excellent condition. Just like with other rare coins, the condition is crucial in determining how much the coin is worth. A 1975 D nickel with this misalignment in uncirculated or near mint condition can fetch top dollar. The sharpness of the details, the clarity of the misalignment, and the overall quality of the coin are all factors that contribute to its value. Coins that have been circulated extensively, with scratches, dings, or signs of wear, are much less valuable than those in pristine condition. But if you manage to find one of these misaligned die 1975 D. Jefferson nickels in great shape, you've got yourself a rare and valuable treasure. The $11,000 price tag is a reflection of how special these error coins are in the numismatic world. So, if you're ever going through a coin collection or hunting through spare change, it's definitely worth keeping an eye out for a 1975 D. mint mark Jefferson nickel with a distinctive misalignment. With just a little luck and some careful inspection, you could be sitting on a coin worth a whole lot more than you might think. And last, but certainly not least, we have the 1977 D mint mark Jefferson nickel, which can be worth up to $12,500. This coin's value is largely due to a minting error that makes it stand out in the world of numismatics. Just like the 1975's D nickel, the 1977 D has a similar issue, a misaligned die. This error happens when the die that strikes the coin is not properly aligned with the planchette, causing part of the design to be off-center. When this happens, the details on the coin end up looking uneven or shifted, which gives the coin a very unique appearance. In some cases, it can look like the coin has been double-struck, meaning part of the design appears twice, making it look almost like a ghost image of the original strike. This kind of effect makes the 1977 D nickel even rarer and more valuable. Coins with this misaligned die error are highly prized because they show just how unpredictable the minting process can be. While most coins are struck with precision, errors like this are proof of the imperfections in the system. These kinds of coins are rare enough to begin with, and when you find one, it's like discovering a piece of history. Collectors love them not just for their rarity, but also for the story they tell about the minting process. What makes the 1977 D mint mark Jefferson nickel so special is that it's a misstruck coin, and errors like this don't happen every day. While the 1975 D nickel with a similar misalignment is already valuable, the 1977 D is even more sought after because of its specific characteristics. When you come across one of these coins, it's not just another ordinary nickel. It's a unique piece of US minting history that can fetch a premium price, sometimes up to $12,500 or more, depending on the condition. Just like with other error coins, the condition plays a huge role in determining how much these coins are worth. A 1977 D with a misaligned die that's in excellent or uncirculated condition is going to be much more valuable than one that has been worn down or damaged over the years. So, when you're looking at a 1977 D nickel, it's important to check the sharpness of the design, the clarity of the misalignment, and the overall quality of the coin. If you manage to find one of these rare misaligned die 1977 D nickels in good condition, you're in luck. These coins are among the most valuable in the Jefferson nickel series and are highly coveted by collectors. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just someone casually collecting coins, stumbling upon a 1977 D with this misalignment error could mean you found a real treasure. It's one of those coins that could very well turn out to be worth a lot more than you might expect, with a potential value of $12,500 or more. Conclusion. So there you have it, the top 7 most expensive and rare Jefferson nickels you should be on the lookout for. Whether it's a minting error or just a rare year, these coins are true treasures that collectors and numismatists have been hunting for decades. As always, when dealing with rare coins, make sure to do your research and, if needed, get them appraised by a professional. You never know, you might just have a goldmine hidden in your change jar. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more coin tips and history. And as always, stay on the lookout for those rare finds. See you next time.